For 20 long years, I faced a nightly battle with insomnia. Each evening was a struggle. As I tossed and turned, helplessly staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with thoughts that refused to quiet down. The sound of the clock ticking felt like a countdown to another sleepless night. After exhausting all natural remedies, I finally turned to sleeping pills. At first, they seemed like a magical solution, allowing me to drift off into a deep slumber. But as the years went by, I became increasingly dependent on them. My mornings were often clouded with grogginess, as the effects of the pills lingered. I would wake up feeling like a zombie, struggling to shake off the drowsiness that clung to me like a heavy blanket. Simple tasks like getting dressed or preparing breakfast became monumental challenges. My job suffered too. I found it difficult to concentrate, and my productivity plummeted. Friends began to notice my fatigue and lack of enthusiasm during our gatherings. Although my wife tried her best to support me through this ordeal, I could see the toll it took on her as well. Our evenings together felt strained, filled with awkward silences as she watched me succumb to the pills night after night. As time wore on, I wondered if there was more to this cycle than just sleeplessness and medication. Little did I know that something lurking in the shadows of our home would soon change everything I thought I knew about my life and my wife. Every night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I began my ritual, a carefully choreographed dance that had become second nature. First, I would retreat to the kitchen, where a glass of water awaited me on the counter. I would pour it slowly, savoring the routine that felt both comforting and necessary. Then, I reached for the small bottle of sleeping pills, shaking it lightly before twisting off the cap. The pills glimmered like tiny promises of restful nights ahead. Once I swallowed the pills, I made my way to the bedroom, where soft lights flickered gently from the bedside lamp. My pajamas were laid out neatly on the bed, a simple yet reassuring sight in an otherwise chaotic world. Climbing under the covers felt like sinking into a warm embrace. I arranged my pillows just right and took a deep breath, allowing the day's worries to fade away. As my eyes grew heavy, I settled into a familiar pattern, counting down from 100 or replaying scenes from favorite movies in my head. This was my safe haven, a nightly cocoon where sleep was just around the corner. With every passing night, this routine provided me with an illusion of control and comfort amid my struggles. Yet beneath this layer of safety lay a shadow that neither my wife nor I could see. Something about our life was shifting, and soon enough, that shift would reveal itself in unexpected ways. As I settled into my nightly routine, there was an odd undercurrent that I couldn't quite place. It began with faint sounds, soft shuffling, and whispers that drifted through the walls of our home. At first, I brushed them off as figments of my foggy mind, remnants of the day clinging to my thoughts as I fell asleep. The pills dulled my senses, but there were nights when those strange noises pierced through the haze. Sometimes I would hear the creaking of floorboards, as if someone were moving about in the dark. Other times, there'd be muffled conversations that ceased as soon as I tried to focus on them. My heart raced. Curiosity mingled with confusion. What could it be? Surely, it was just my imagination playing tricks on me during those drifting moments between wakefulness and slumber. Yet, there was a nagging feeling deep inside that these sounds held a deeper significance. They stirred something inside me, a mix of unease and intrigue. Was my wife awake too? Was she doing something in the night that I didn't understand? Each night brought new whispers and echoes, drawing me into a mystery I could not ignore. As these occurrences grew more frequent, they started to unravel the comforting cocoon I'd woven around myself each night, leaving me with questions that demanded answers. Little did I know how soon those answers would come, and how shocking they would be when they finally arrived. With each passing night, my unease deepened as I became more aware of the peculiarities surrounding my wife's behavior. It started with little things, the way she would sometimes linger in the kitchen after I had taken my pills, the soft glow of her phone screen illuminating her face in the dark. I would drift off, but those eerie sounds would awaken a nagging suspicion in me. Was she hiding something? At first, I shook off these thoughts as paranoia born from sleeplessness. However, the whispers and shuffling grew louder and more frequent. I couldn't ignore the feeling that there was something going on when I was asleep, something my wife wasn't sharing with me. One night, after hearing her softly giggling while lying in bed, I felt a jolt of concern shoot through me. Why was she laughing at this hour? As days turned into weeks, I couldn't help but connect the dots. The change in her mood during our daytime conversations seemed subtle yet telling. She appeared distracted, often lost in thought, as if she were keeping a secret tucked away, just out of reach. My heart raced at the thought that perhaps these late-night activities were more than just harmless distractions. It was then that I realized my world was slowly being pulled apart at the seams. Each sound and each stolen glance only intensified my need for answers, and I knew I had to uncover what lay hidden in the shadows of our home before it shattered everything we built together. The night had come again, and as the familiar sounds of my wife settling in for bed surrounded me, a surge of determination coursed through my veins. I decided then and there that I would not take the pills that night. I needed clarity. My heart raced as I clung to the edge of the mattress, fully awake, listening intently for any movement beyond the silence. Every creak of the house felt amplified, and my anxiety bubbled beneath the surface. I could hear my wife's soft breathing, but the stillness was deceptive. I felt like a detective in a thrilling mystery, piecing together clues from the shadows. The kitchen, where she'd often linger, became my focal point. Would she slip out again? I held my breath, waiting. Time moved slowly, and nerves tightened with each passing hour. I fidgeted with my watch, glancing at the clock more times than I could count. The darkness felt oppressive, wrapping around me like a heavy cloak, yet it also fueled my resolve. I had to know what was happening when I was asleep. Then it happened. A soft shuffle filled the air, followed by a light giggle that echoed in the stillness. My heart pounded as I slipped quietly out of bed, navigating through the shadows with careful steps. Gathering courage, I approached the kitchen. The truth awaited me just beyond the door. With sweaty palms and a pounding heart, I braced myself for whatever revelation might unfold. It was time to uncover the secrets that had been hiding in plain sight. As I crept into the kitchen, the soft glow of light spilled from the crack under the door. My heart raced, and a mix of fear and curiosity propelled me forward. I took a deep breath, pushed the door open slightly, and peered inside. What I saw left me completely stunned. My wife was not alone. In the dim light, I recognized a figure sitting at the kitchen table, a man I had never seen before. They were laughing and sharing a plate of cookies, completely at ease with one another. My breath caught in my throat as confusion flooded through me. Why was she entertaining someone in the middle of the night? Did she feel comfortable enough to let someone else into our home while I slept, blissfully unaware? I felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. The cozy image I had of my life was crumbling right before my eyes. As I stood there, frozen in shock, all the late-night whispers and giggles suddenly made sense. It wasn't just innocent late-night snacks. It was something much deeper. The weight of this revelation pressed down on me like an anvil. Our relationship felt redefined in that moment. Trust was shattered, and uncertainty loomed over our future. I knew then that confronting her would be inevitable, but part of me struggled to understand how we had reached this point. All those nights spent battling insomnia now felt trivial compared to the chaos unfolding before me. How would I ever face her after what I had discovered? The moments after that shocking revelation felt like a surreal nightmare from which I couldn't wake. I stumbled back to the bedroom, my heart heavy with an unbearable weight. How could she have betrayed me like this? The laughter I had heard from the kitchen now echoed in my mind, taunting me with memories of our life together. Each smile she had shared with that stranger cut deeper than any knife, twisting the very fabric of our relationship. Feelings of anger surged through me like wildfire, consuming everything in their path. I wanted to scream, to confront her right then and there, but confusion held me in place. How long had this been going on? Was it a one-time mistake, or had I been blind to months, maybe years of deceit? Uncertainty gnawed at me, a relentless ache that refused to be dismissed. Trust, once the cornerstone of our marriage, felt shattered and irreparable. I replayed every moment we had shared, searching for signs I must have missed. My mind raced with questions that had no clear answers. What could have driven her to seek comfort elsewhere? Did she feel unhappy, and why hadn't she come to me? In that moment of isolation, I realized that everything I thought I knew about love and companionship was being rewritten. The future I had envisioned for us was crumbling, leaving behind a landscape of hurt and betrayal. I knew a confrontation was inevitable, but the words I would need to say felt too heavy to bear. How do you even begin to peel back the layers of trust that have been so brutally torn apart? In the days following my discovery, the weight of our shattered trust hung heavily in the air, suffocating any hope for clarity. I was filled with anger, but deep down, I recognized that healing could only come through understanding. After much internal wrestling, I decided it was time to sit down with my wife and address the chaos we now faced. That evening, I approached her cautiously. The sight of her made my heart ache, but I could see the pain reflected in her eyes as well. We sat at opposite ends of the couch, an invisible chasm separating us. With trembling hands, I took a deep breath and began to speak. "We need to talk about what happened," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. To my surprise, she opened up about her feelings, how loneliness had crept into our relationship, and how she felt neglected during my battle with insomnia. It was a revelation that struck me like lightning. I had been so consumed by my struggles that I failed to notice her suffering. As we shared our truths, barriers began to break down. We listened intently, as each word exchanged held the power to either deepen our wounds or begin healing them. While it was far from easy, we agreed to seek couples therapy together. Taking this step marked a turning point. It signified our commitment to work through the mess we had created. Though the road ahead would be challenging, for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. Together, we could strive to rebuild our connection and find a way back to each other. As days turned into weeks, the process of healing became both challenging and transformative for us. Couples therapy had opened up a doorway to truths we both needed to face, allowing us to constructively address our feelings rather than letting them fester. Each session felt like peeling back layers of hurt, revealing vulnerabilities and fears that had long been buried. We began to communicate more openly about our needs, not just during therapy, but also in our everyday lives. Simple gestures, like asking how each other's day went or planning date nights, reintroduced intimacy that we had lost along the way. We even started to share our very first laugh since the incident, reconnecting on deeper levels. Trust, though fragile, slowly began to mend. We set new ground rules. Transparency became crucial as we agreed to keep each other informed about our evenings and any potential late-night plans. This was daunting, but necessary. I often felt anxiety creeping back in as I wrestled with lingering doubts. However, my wife's consistent efforts, texting me just to check in or surprising me with small notes of appreciation, helped ease my fears. Moreover, we committed to exploring new activities together. Whether it was a dance class or weekend hikes, these shared experiences fostered a sense of closeness while building fresh memories away from painful ones. There were still tough conversations ahead and discomforts to face. Yet, with patience and effort on both sides, we began envisioning a relationship rooted in deeper understanding and renewed trust, a partnership revived from the ashes of betrayal. Looking back on this tumultuous journey, I've come to realize how vital honesty is in any relationship. The habits of suppressing feelings or avoiding difficult conversations had put both my marriage and my well-being at risk. It was through the painful revelation of betrayal that I learned the importance of being open, not just with my wife, but also with myself. Our communication improved as we worked together to address underlying issues, and I discovered how fragile, yet essential, trust is in a partnership. Each small step toward vulnerability helped mend the wounds that had seemed insurmountable. I began to see that healing required both of us to engage actively, listen intently, and share authentically our hopes and fears. In addition to mending our relationship, another crucial lesson arose: the connection between emotional health and physical well-being. As we navigated through therapy and rebuilt our bond, I found myself relying less on sleeping pills. Slowly but surely, I learned to sleep naturally again, free from the haze of medication. Each night became a testament to our progress, a peaceful escape rather than a desperate pause. Ultimately, this experience taught me that both love and intimacy flourish in an environment of openness and trust. Though the road ahead may still hold challenges, I now have a renewed perspective on life and relationships, marked by clarity, understanding, and a commitment to nurturing what truly matters: love itself.